Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here on the show, and I'm here to talk about the second college football semifinal playoff game, and this one wasn't exactly good like last night's. Indiana, number 1, blows out number 5 Oregon, 56-22 reaction. I think Indiana scored like 28 points off turnovers. Oregon, they had a pick 6, obviously, there at the start of the game. I believe there was also, two or three fumbles, and Indiana scored on all those. I think Dante Moore had 2 fumbles. I think someone else might have one, but yeah, they had 3 fumbles, lost 2 of them. I can't remember. But they scored on some fumbles, 21, 28 points off turnovers, something like that. You had the pick 6, and then the offense capitalizes off the fumbles. Mendoza had another really good game. Like, you'll look at the box score and be like, oh, he only threw 177 yards, but the passes he completed, man, he has a really good arm. Completes passes, even when they're contested, he gets it to his receivers, only to where they can get it. And how about Fernando Mendoza ending his historic season in his hometown against Miami in his real-life movie shit, man. And they just absolutely dominated this game. And it was a good response from Oregon after pick 6. You go get a touchdown, but it was never close after that. They scored really... Well, they got a touch... The second half was just kind of garbage time touchdowns. It was like 42-7 in the third quarter. It's 35-7 at halftime. Then it got to 42-7. They got 2 garbage time touchdowns in the fourth quarter. And Fernando Mendoza, another banger post-game interview. Indiana football 15-0 season, 1 game away from a perfect season. Prior to Kurt Cignati arriving in Bloomington, Indiana hadn't won 15 combined games in back-to-back seasons since 1988, and that's more than 35 years ago. Just unreal, man. This is probably the biggest college football playoff butt kicking since Indiana-Alabama last week. Hell, at least Bama didn't get beat this bad. They gave up 38 the whole game. Oregon gave up 35 in the first half. I know they had turnovers, but still, they gave up 35. At least, I guess at least Oregon got some touchdowns, I guess, but... I thought they were going to drop 60. They calmed down a little bit offensively because they weren't really trying that hard and still scored almost 60. Scored 28 in the first half and 21 in the second half. So even with a few drives, they had the punt. They still cooked. But I guess the joke lives on for Oregon. Their logo, O0. So they've still won 0 natties. The joke lives on, man. It's yearly tradition. Oh, we're winning next year. Good performances raise false hope. Talk insane amount of shit. Humiliating defeat on national TV. Fernando Mendoza has more touchdowns than incompletions in back-to-back games. Against Alabama, he was 14-16, 196, 3 touchdowns. Oregon, 17-20, 170, I think, he had 177 yards and 5 touchdowns, 8 touchdowns to, how many incompletions? I think 5 incompletions. The dude's been phenomenal in these college playoffs. Man. I understand wanting to support your team, and that's fine for your Oregon, but some of you Oregon fans were talking mad trash for this game, thinking you had a chance. I was hoping this would be a good game. I know you had some hope with that first game. Indiana, I think I scored them like by 10 when it was a tie game in the final 7 minutes or something, but still, not a terrible year for Oregon considering the expectations, but this year was wide open for them, and they crapped the bed again. They're down 35-7 at halftime. They were the number 1 seed last year. They were down like 34-8 at halftime. So, just kind of pathetic. But Fernando Mendoza might save the fucking Raiders franchise. You already got Ashton Jeanty and Brock Bowers. Just get a receiver and build that offensive line. The Raiders' offense can be pretty good. But Indiana's just obliterating like everybody they play besides Ohio State. That might be the closest game they've had. Either that or the Oregon regular season game. Feels like other than that, he's just been phenomenal. This team has just been phenomenal. Kurt Signetti has just been phenomenal ever since he's got there at Indiana. Just a dominant performance. Just felt like from start to finish. Like after that first, in that first quarter, even when it was 7-7, I'm like, it's probably gonna be a blowout. Miami's gonna be tough championship, but they have to come out of the gates fast against this Indiana team. Because it feels like no matter who they play, you think they're gonna win. But Dan Lanning, at some point, with all these blowouts, you're gonna have to question this guy. That's just my opinion. You can't be constantly getting blown out at halftime in these playoff games. You have to be competitive. And I just mean these bigger games. They beat James Madison. Cool. Texas Tech, whose quarterback was garbage. Cool. The best team they play, they get dominated. Look, I thought Indiana was going to win this game. I just didn't think it would be this bad. My lord. But Fernando Mendoza was phenomenal. I think in the red zone this year, he has 32 touchdowns, no interceptions. I think 26 passing, 6 rushing. Automatically he's in the red zone. Kids is just such a smart player. And the ball placement tonight was absolutely terrific. He's such a good quarterback. I know people talk about Indiana's system or whatever. I just think he's a better player than he was at Cal. And Indiana's offense is just so efficient. It's been that way all year. They hardly ever make mistakes. And they execute at such a high level. That's just all they do. And it's just their offense is so efficient. They were 3-9 2 years ago. They ended this season with the worst losses, or with the most losses in FBS history. Now, they've kicked Alabama's ass, Oregon's ass, and coasting to the national championship game. Unbelievable. I think at one point, he had 6 quarters of playoff action, 24 27, 90%, 302 passing yards, 6 touchdowns. Obviously, the stats are now not at that level, or at that rate right now, but that was just through 6 quarters. They now has, 7 or 8 passing touchdowns and a pretty good completion percentage still. It was 35-7 before halftime. Dante Moore fumbled the ball once. Indiana had Dante Moore in hell, sacked him a few times. He's such a New York Jet. I think he got bumped by his teammate and he fumbles. That's such a New York Jets play. He's going to get drafted by the Jets. I think he should stay back in college maybe, because I don't know if he's even a first round pick. I think he should stay back in college, but who knows. That was just terrible. Right there, Indiana had him in hell. He fumbles again. He gets stripped. And then Charlie B from Nashville, Tennessee, catches a contested pass. They were just rolling late in the first half. Charlie Baker's really come on strong at the end of this season for Indiana football. Most of the year it's Elijah Surratt and Omar Cooper and their off-the-line running backs. But no, Charlie Baker's come on strong. Oregon just got absolutely bullied in every aspect of this ball game tonight. They got bullied. Felt like just from start to finish. And a pick 6 in the first play of the game. I couldn't believe it. And then a good strike from Dante Moore to tie things up. But then after that, it just went to shit. Indiana dominated the rest of this ball game. So yeah, let's go over the stat sheet and then I'll wrap it up. So for Indiana, they improved to 15-0. They scored 56 points. 14 in the first quarter, 21 in the second quarter, 7 in the third quarter, and 14. In the fourth quarter. Mendoza, 17-20, 177 yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. What a game for Mendoza. 6 runs, 28 yards. For the running backs, Caleb Black, 12 runs, 63 yards, 5.3 carry, 2 touchdowns. Roman Hemby, 17 runs, 53 yards. Kobe Martin, 4 runs, 42 yards. Ran for 185 yards on 40 carries, 4.6. Receiving, Elijah Surratt, 7 catches, 75 yards, 2 touchdowns. Charlie Baker, 2 catches, 48 yards and a touchdown. Riley Nowakowski, 2 catches, 18 yards. Omar Cooper Jr., 3 catches, 17 yards and a touchdown. E.J. Williams, 1 catch for 13 yards. Even D'Angelo Pons had 1 catch for 6 yards. Defensively, they had 3 sacks, 10 TFLs. Their defense was electric. D'Angelo Pons with the interception, with the pick 6. They didn't have to kick any field goals tonight. 8 for 8 on extra points. For Oregon, their season ends at a 13-2 record. They scored 22.7 in the first quarter, 0 in the second quarter, 8 in the third quarter, 7 in the fourth quarter, dropped to 13-2 to end the year. Dante Moore, 24-39, 285, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Terrible night from Dante Moore. De'Aaron Hill Jr., 5 runs, 86 yards. Jay Harris, 16 runs, 35 yards and a touchdown receiving. Jamari Johnson, 4 catches, 83 yards and a touchdown. Jeremiah McClellan, 5 for 64. Harris, 3 for 32. Sadiq, 5 for 29. DeCorian Moore, 2 for 20. Hill Jr., 2 for 25. Blake Benson, 2 for 23. And Rogers Salapaga, their third string tight end, had a 1-yard touchdown catch. They had 3 fumbles, lost 2 of them. They had 1 sack, 5 TFLs. Their kicker, Spaddington, 0 for 1. Let's go over the team stats, and then we'll wrap it up here. Talk about Dan Lanning to end it off. Look, let's go over the team stats first, though. Oh, come on, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Do 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 do. So Indiana had 18 first downs. They were 11 of 14 on third down. 0 for 0 on fourth down. 362 total yards. 8 yards per pass. 185 rushing yards on 40 attempts. 4.6 carry, 5 penalties for 23 yards. They didn't have any turnovers. 31 missed time possession. Oregon 20 first downs. 8 for 13 on third down. Over 2 on fourth down. 378 total yards. 7 yards a pass. 93 rushing yards on 26 attempts. 3.6 carry. One of those runs went for like 60 or 70 yards. 5 penalties for 43 yards. They had 3 turnovers with 2 fumbles and an interception. So at some point we have to talk about Dan Lanning getting his doors blown off in the college football playoff games. Where's the big win, man? How many blocks does Dan Lanning have to take in the playoffs before we start asking questions? Like, I think he's a good coach, but it just seems like all these big playoff games, when they get to this point, they get demolished. Yes, I know he's not throwing the ball to the other team or dropping the ball at the 3-yard line, but I don't know, man. It's just like his team is never ready to go in these big games, man. The game was as over gets. I know he's in the semifinals, but they can't get past the semifinals. It's my thing. He can't get past it. Like, you're in the semifinals, cool. Get out of it. Year 1, UGA, Washington, Oregon State collapse. Year 2, Penix owns you twice. Year 3, the Rose Bowl. Year 4, right now. He's still going to be their coach for sure, but at some point. But would anybody play close to Indiana at this point? Probably not. But, I mean, 3 turnovers, 21 points. You don't blame the coach there. It's just, you get dog-walked 2 years in a row in a big game versus a conference opponent. It's my thing, but yeah, it's kind of all I got to say here for this game. So, Indiana gets the 56-22 win. It'll be Indiana and Oregon for the Indiana and Miami, for the national championship. I believe January 19th. So, last college football game of the season be Indiana and Miami. We'll see what happens there. But until next time, Mac Light. Peace. Leave a like, subscribe for more on that shit.